All right, on behalf of the Orange Chamber of Commerce, good morning. I'm Berkenda. I'm so excited to welcome you guys to the February installment of Eggs and Issues. Welcome. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Good.
Well, as you can see behind me, there's somebody sitting in my chair. Does anybody know who that is?
Duke. Duke.
That is our Duke of Orange. So join me in congratulating him. I wanted to give you guys a quick rundown. So who was at the Duke of Orange this week? Just about everybody. Did you guys have a good time?
Yes.
All right, so just a quick rundown of what that ended up like. So we have our Duke of Orange, Mr. Trevor Saunders. He was sponsored by the Orange Elks Lodge 1475. I'm also an elk. Why did I stumble over that? Also an elk. First runner-up was Justin Ladd from Historic Homes of Orange County. Second runner-up was Shad Gibbons, sponsored by Orange Rotary Club. People's Choice Award, Aaron Gosa, sponsored by Providence St. Joseph Hospital of Orange. If you could join me, this is like a huge thing for them. They put a lot of time and effort. Let's give another round of applause to all of the Thank you. Trevor, I'm going to host. Just because you're the Duke, you're going to host. Okay, and I want to do a couple of welcomes. I see our former Mayor Mark Murphy is here. Mark, welcome. He's hiding from me. Oh, there he is. Lieutenant McMullen. Phil McMullen. Thank you, Phil, for coming. So you guys know how this works. Our guest is here for you. So if you guys have any questions for him, just by raise of hands, we'll go ahead and get those questions answered. We do have a hard stop for appointments at 9 a.m. So we just have to do a hard stop at that point. But I think we'll have plenty of time for questions. So join me in welcoming John Gyllenhammer. John is the council member from District 6. Before we get started, I would love to read your bio if you don't mind.
Sounds good.
Okay. So John Gyllenhammer was born in Michigan and moved over 20 times through the Midwest, East Coast, and California. He finally landed in the best place in the world to live, the city of Orange. Living here for the last 8 years, he is the oldest of 5 kids and very close with his family. His dad is a Marine and businessman, and mom an elementary school teacher. He attended UCLA, graduating with degrees in business economics and political science. He continued his education by earning an MBA at Cal State Northridge and an MSBA in organizational leadership at USC. John has worked 17 years as a retail and operations manager for Target and Amazon. During those 17 years, he has had the responsibility of leading stores, warehouses, loss prevention regional teams, multi-unit retail stores, and multi-site warehouse operations. Throughout these experiences, he has held roles leading business units of over 9,000 associates and has been responsible for profit and loss decision-making for business units generating $500 million in revenue. In these roles, John has had the opportunity to do what fulfills him most, build environments where teams feel engaged, help others realize their potential, and solve challenging problems. John has taken an active role in community service. He has served on the board for the United Ways of California and volunteered with Feeding America, the Special Olympics, and numerous law enforcement agencies on multiple giving campaigns. While at Target, he had oversight over 440 retail store locations, including their strategy for community service and the budget to support giving priorities. John stays active at his church, volunteering to teach Sunday school and working with agencies like Care Portal to support local needs. He has also continued to engage in multiple volunteer opportunities throughout the city of Orange. John was elected to Orange City Council in District 6 in 2022. He has focused on public safety, financial stability, and quality of life. He enjoys engaging residents who want to get involved in the community and finding opportunities to bring people and resources together to make a positive impact. John has been married to his wife, Lauren, for going on 17 years and has 2 children who are 9 and 6 years old. Lauren is a research professor working at the UCI Medical Center here in Orange. When not working, he spends time outdoors with his family, attending Boy Scout events with his son, coaching his kids' sports teams, and is engaged at church. John, thank you so much for joining us. Another warm welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. It's another typical busy day. Get up early, get the kids up, make the lunches, run them to school, and come to an event, go to work. So, good morning.
I feel like you've already had a full day. That's a lot.
They're full. They're fun. They're good.
Well, I thought we'd start talking a little bit about you. You've worked at a couple of Fortune 500 companies. How do you feel that that's led to where you are and how it works with City Council here in Orange?
Yeah, so I've worked at Target and Amazon for 17 years, and you learn a lot. I've had 13 different roles at these companies, so I think first and foremost, there's a lot of resiliency that's built when you're constantly failing at things and learning. And I think that's important because I think that resiliency leads to a greater sense of, I would say, humility and understanding you don't know everything. I would say that first. There's an element of needing to perform within these organizations that's super important. So it's a focus on trying to get that result, but at the same time understanding that you're going to get it through other people, and you need to have a vision. So I think at these companies, it's trying to bring all those things together. So having a vision for your team, trying to lead your team to a place where they're engaged, they're growing, they feel like there's a safe environment where they can do that. But at the same time, you have objectives that you have to hit.
Right.
And then the other thing that I think that's been really helpful is the ability and need to network outside of your core team to be able to bring resources in to help your team create the environment that will make them successful. So
that makes sense. I mean, they're fairly large companies, so you're really having to, I'm sure, go out there and meet the different people and not just stay in your office or, behind a desk at home somewhere. So that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of different opportunities over the years to do that. I had a loss prevention role at Target where I led the Western United States for our undercover uniformed teams in our sites. And in that role, I had the opportunity to work with California Police Chiefs Associations,
Nice.
Retail Federation, to work on big problems. Prop 47, Prop 57 being a couple of the main ones in that 2016-2017 timeframe. But your job extends outside of just leading your team. It goes into a space where, what are the environmental barriers that are keeping your team from being successful?
That makes sense.
And some of these roles cause you to engage outside of your team. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, as far as transitioning that into City Council, what do you think has led to the success of where you are today? As far as have you formed any mentorships or partnerships throughout the county or organization? What does that look like?
Yeah. So over the last 17 years, you have to network. You have to get to know people, right? And I've learned early on that I'm not going to have all the right answers to everything.
Right.
So usually not. So when I first decided to do this a while ago, my life has been full of mentors that have been helping me prior to deciding, during the campaign, and then as I got into role. So a couple of people I want to call out. Former Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Kim Nichols has been phenomenal. She's helped me for 2 years. She gave me every other week time with her.
Oh, that's amazing.
Gaddy Vasquez has been a mentor. I meet with him. He's given me once a month, and that man is very busy, so I appreciate his time.
Yes, he is.
Mike Spurgeon, he lives out in my district, former council member. He gives me once a month. And then there's been a lot of people that have helped me in the campaign. Former Mayor Mark Murphy, who's been really helpful, kind of introducing me to what the campaign is, a lot of the existing council members. And then other mayors and city council members in existing cities. I just want to call one of them out, Mayor Will O'Neill over in Newport Beach.
Okay.
I meet with him once every 45 days on policy issues and just helping me understand how to make good decisions for the city. So you got to have mentors that will teach you the history of the city and then give you insights on how to do things the right way and how to think about things with a different perspective. So super helpful learning that networking piece and bringing that into city council role.
That's amazing. I love that. That's some great mentors that you have there. I also wanted to ask you about some things that you're working on. So I know that you mentioned to me privately, like when we were talking about this meeting, about some committees that you're working on. Would you mind sharing what committees you're working on with City Council?
Sure, yeah. So there's a lot of official City Council committees, but then there's ones where, the community is getting together to work on issues that are important to them. So I'll speak about a couple, one in a more official capacity and one in a less official capacity. I'll start with that one.
Perfect.
So when I joined the council, there's a lot of residents very passionate in talking about sustainability issues. We didn't have an official sustainability committee, but I saw their passion. I saw their desire and want to do something to serve the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I engaged with them offline about the possibility of just bringing everyone together in more of a community-based setting so that they can work on these issues without an official city capacity committee. And they have been doing that. So there is a sustainability organization committee, whatever you want to call it, in Orange that meets once a month.
Is that partnered with Chapman, or who's that partnered with?
So not officially, but Chapman's been a huge support in this space. They let us use offices in the Keck building. And some of the things they're working on are specifically in partnership with Chapman. So it's grown. There's double digits people coming to this, and they're focusing on issues that they're very passionate about. Right now, there's a couple of big things they're doing. There's a workshop on March 2nd, I think 3 p.m. at Chapman, which is more of a community-based workshop where educating people on solar and the benefits of it and giving them discounts. One of the members is working on something called SOMA, which is an opportunity for affordable housing units to get some grant funding for solar projects for the building. And a really cool one is they're putting together a sustainability plan. And this is the Chapman connection. So there's a professor at Chapman, Professor Tom, is doing a capstone project with one of his classes. And that class is putting together a sustainability plan for the city of Orange. So
that's exciting.
It's really cool. There's a lot of cities in Orange County that are doing it, and they're committing upwards of $500,000 to do this study. So we have a local group of students and professor building something like this together to present to the city council at some point. It's free, right?
How could somebody get involved with that?
So for the committee, you could feel free to, I'm not going to throw all their names out, maybe because I haven't talked to them about it, but feel free to shoot me any communication that you want, and I can connect you with these leaders. But I want to make one final point on this committee, right? So they're doing a lot of fantastic things, but they're doing it outside of the city's purview, right? And this is what I love to see, like citizens or residents that are engaged in what they really enjoy doing. They're passionate about it, and they're doing it and not going to the city and saying there's issues, right? They're just taking a solution-oriented approach to create the change that they're looking for. And that's how I think local government should be run, is residents that want to make a difference, finding an avenue to do that, and then I want to be able to help connect them to future resources and how it could benefit the city at some point.
Perfect. So yeah, if you guys want to get involved with that, contact John directly. And then for the March 2nd, is there a registration or people just show up? Because I have that's, I don't actually have the room that's in, but.
Yeah, no, you can just show up. It's March 2nd, it's 3 p.m., it's at Chapman. The room escapes me, but it's just a community workshop for anyone interested in getting solar to help educate you and provide you some discounts for various companies that do solar.
Okay, perfect. I saw another thing you're working on is a city internship program. And I think that is with 2 local colleges. If you can tell us, what does that program look like and who can be in it and what does that look like?
Orange is a very unique city. It has a ton of hospitals, and then it's got a couple of major universities, right? Major colleges, right? And I love that about the city, and I think it's a unique characteristic that we got to leverage as much as we possibly can. There's huge opportunities with both of those. So I think part of my job is also to help with some of the organizational components of the city staffing needs and talent planning needs. And we have 2 big colleges, Chapman University, SCC in the East, that have great programs. And I wanted to, at the city level, find additional opportunities to bring some of those students into the city. It's a great talent pool, right? And we didn't have an existing internship program. So I floated the idea to some people on city staff and had a chance to meet up with president of SCC, Dr. Jeannie Kim, and some vice presidents at Chapman University, and we started an internship program this year. I don't know exactly how many we have. I think we have 5 to 7 that are, I'm looking at some people from the city right now, 5 to 7 that are, You know, 5 to 7 coming in the first, second quarter of this year, but I think it's just the beginning, and I think it's a really cool opportunity to find great talent, find great local talent, partner again more with the colleges that are in the city of Orange, and just give us additional avenue to cultivate the homegrown talent within the city.
And as far as somebody applying for that, I guess maybe in the next season, would they apply through their related school, I guess?
Yep, super early on, like very pilot phase right now.
Okay.
But I think you can contact representatives within your school. Without speaking out of turn, I think there's a VP of student placement or career at Chapman is probably the right person. And then I can't tell you who it is at SCC, but I would work through the school. I think if you want to contact the city, I think you can do that as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Before I ask any more questions, does anyone have any questions for John? We're not there yet. Oh, I see one. Yes.
What exactly do you mean by sustainability program? Is that co-development?
So sustainability, the committee I was talking about, is a group of leaders that are really focused on issues that are related to just trying to be more, I guess, responsible within our impact to the environment. So a lot of what that's been is around electrification. So solar's been some of the projects. The group is looking at getting engaged in more Earth Day events, like how can we create volunteerism swell within the community to help with cleanup projects. So I know that they're working on that sort of stuff. And then the sustainability plan, historically, if you go across cities, it's really just designed around emissions control. So public transit, electrification, stuff like that, that the city can start to make little tweaks on. I think the cool thing about this committee is that it's a financially minded organization, right? The sustainability plan, right, opens up the city for additional grant funding opportunities that this group is actually going to look at as well. So how awesome is it that Orange residents are looking into grant opportunities for the city of Orange, right? And I think that they understand this midpoint around, like, yeah, let's make progress in this area that's important, but let's do it in a financially minded sense. If that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Rachel?
I've got one, Councilmember.
Yeah.
Are there any projects that you're looking forward to, excited coming to the city? So infrastructure, businesses, anything you can share with us that you're excited about that's coming to Orange?
I think there's a ton of opportunity for the city, right, in a lot of different places. And we have a fantastic economic development director in the room here with us today. I won't. I don't know if we'll go down any specifics with those, just understanding kind of where we're at in the cycle in terms of some of the economic development discussion. I'm excited about another thing that I think I'm just getting started with, and I think the concept of it I talked about earlier in the Sustainability Committee, I think is great. We also have Rick Olson in the room here today, and I'm going to call him out here. Rick Olson has championed an organization called Love Orange, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier. An opportunity and an organization for anyone to come together to, as a community, find the opportunities and needs in the city and meet those needs. And I think it's a phenomenal concept because I entirely support any opportunity where anyone that wants to get involved can come and be involved. And it's not necessarily a project, but I think it's an idea, and the city's getting plugged into that idea. So on our website, on our app, you can find opportunities to volunteer. And Love Orange is one of those organizations that represents that ideology, right? How can we engage? There's so many people that will email me, how can I get involved in this, right? And we want to be able to capture that interest and do so in a way that we as a city can connect residents, people that want to be involved, to the issues and problems that residents can get involved in at a city level. So organizations like Love Orange are exciting to me because we got to do a whole lot more of that, in my opinion.
I agree. Well, I see that we have, police is in the room, so we must talk about public safety, as I know that's one of your key cornerstones. I know that you went through the Citizens Academy.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It was fantastic. So I have a little bit of a background in loss prevention, I would say.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that earlier. And I've been plugged into some of the issues that our police departments across the state have been engaged in for a while. So as I mentioned, I was a loss prevention regional director for Target for years.
Right.
During that time, I had a chance to go to Sacramento to lobby for what's called an ORC, or organized retail crime.
Oh, wow.
The idea behind it, 2017, was that there's unintended consequences arising as a result of Prop 47. And we saw a spike in crimes against people, and that's relative to my role at Target at the time. There wasn't a huge appetite to make any adjustments to that proposition, and I had a chance to go to Sacramento and lobby the Public Safety Committee at that time. So our police department has their hands full with things that they can't control. Like there are laws that they need to enforce that are coming down from the state. Going through the Citizens Police Academy, what I can tell you is that we have a fantastic police department. It is full of very competent, capable, and just leaders with integrity all the way down. Like you can't find, in me being engaged in a lot of different police organizations, you don't find people that drag their feet. You find people that want to do the right thing every single day for the residents of Orange.
Nice.
And that's super important. And I think we can all feel that way about the police department. And I've tried to get to as many events as I can. I've had a chance to connect with the chief, chance to connect with a bunch of leaders within the police department. And I know that they're out there every day giving 100% to try and keep the city safe. And Orange is a safe city.
Definitely. I know, if you don't mind my asking, Lieutenant, do we have an academy coming up soon?
March 6th.
March 6th, okay? For those of you
Go.
who can't hear, March 6th is the next Orange Citizens Police Academy, so there is still time to sign up. John recommends it, 10 out of 10.
You
So
still
do that.
the canines, they get the fire anything.
You're gonna do. It's getting bigger and better every year.
It's getting bigger and better every year. Okay, all right.
Right along.
No one gets locked in the jails anymore, right?
No, no
Okay, all right. Good. Disclaimer: that didn't happen. Yeah.
Well, if we could, I know that at the last council meeting, we went over budget. You're still in budget. Any comments on budget or like what we can look forward to over this next year?
Yeah, we ran a budget deficit last year, and I think it was something that I never want to be in a place. Right? I think years and years of trying to drive productivity and balance the P&L, I needed to shift my mindset around the difference of what my day-to-day work is in relation to running a city. Right.
Right.
So I think change is good if it's over time and it's appropriately digestible.
Right.
So I think it didn't necessarily make sense to make a drastic amount of cuts last year, but I think it's something we're thinking about, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to run a city balanced over time, right? So I think we've had a good chunk of time to really dive into ways to drive additional revenue into the city, ways to increase our investment gains for the money that we do have, and then looking for across the city ways to really look at the level of service, the overall impact, and then over the course of the last year, we've hired a bunch of great people that have provided additional layers of leadership to various departments within the city.
Okay.
That I think is going to help a ton with direction and so forth. So I think we're in a good place. We're starting the budget cycle right now.
Right.
I want a balanced budget. I think that's what we're working towards.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why we're not going to be able to do that this year.
Definitely. I mean, I think there was a lot of informed questions asked about the budget, and so that's one of those things where it's it's public knowledge. So I think that's great to work towards that common goal.
Yeah.
Now, as far as maybe adding some grant opportunities, do you see like anything where we can look forward to maybe any of that over the next couple of years? Like any grants that are out there? I know there was a lot of grants during COVID, and that was a huge conversation then. But is there really anything left that you can think of that we can look toward?
There was a lot of money during COVID times.
Yeah.
And that money is not going to be there in the future. But there's still opportunity. We, as a city, we employ a group through Townsend to do legislative advocacy and grant writing for us.
Okay.
So somebody can fact check me on this, but I know it was over $2 million that that group was able to bring into the city through various grant initiatives last year.
Nice.
So we'd love to beat that this year.
Right.
And I think just looking for additional revenue sources where we could do that to either take new ground in an area we weren't thinking we were going to spend on, or offset something that's in the general budget. I think we're all paying attention to that opportunity, because if there's money on the table,
Right.
we need everyone
That's
going
what
to
grants
find
are.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We want to find that.
Every year. And I think we hire a group that does that specifically.
Right.
And then we have the directors within the city that are paying attention to the ones that are impacting their respective areas. So yes, we're going after it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm just curious, how is the city of Orange keeping up with the housing requirements set forth by the state of California?
We HCD signed off on our housing element, so we are officially compliant through HCD, which is great. That was a long road, and I just want to commend city staff for countless hours working on putting that together and finally getting it through HCD. So we're compliant. So historically, the city has been given an A grade for previous years in terms of a housing element or our RENA housing numbers. So the city historically has been in good shape, and we currently have an approved housing element through HCD.
You had mentioned Prop 47, and a lot of talk on the radio about overturning Prop 47. And I think that are
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
I think we need to overturn Prop 47. So, and I think that what you're mentioning is our DA Todd Spitzer has something at the convention center, which is signing. I know he's got something in the works focused on it. I think it's bad policy, and I think a lot of people knew that at the time. I understand the intention and desire behind trying to rehabilitate people, but the reality is when you flip common sense upside down and the victim is the perpetrator and the perpetrator is the victim, you're going to start to erode basic things in society. And Prop 47 is bad policy that has negatively impacted the state for a long time.
Any other questions? So if you might share with us, if you have any priorities for this coming year, what one or two or anything, what that might look like.
Balanced budget would be a priority.
Okay.
I would say just continued support for public safety, right? Like understanding what we need to do, how we need to pivot to make sure that's a continued priority. There's a lot of efforts, and there's continuous efforts, and it's a very complicated issue, but homelessness focus, I think, within the city is going to be a continued focus. In East Orange, we have this big piece of land out there, and trying to find a solution for what's known as the Sully Miller property. And then just west of that is the former Villa Park dump site. It would be fantastic if there was a final solution for that land, right? So trying to work with the city, trying to work with residents over the course of this year to try and get closer to a solution for what happens there. I think those would be my bigger priorities.
Bigger priorities.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for a fun question.
Hit me.
You've been in the city for about 8 years, so
Yep.
I would love to know your favorite event in the city. So we've got so many. We've got the Duke, we have the tree lighting, we have 3rd of July.
Yeah.
There's so many. Do you have a favorite yet?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my kids love them all, and my wife makes our Halloween costumes, so I always love treats and
I've
treats.
seen your costumes. Yeah,
We
you
were
guys have
the
great
Plants
costumes.
vs. Zombies last year.
Yeah.
But I love the July 3rd event. I think it brings together everything that makes this city fantastic and unique in a lot of ways. There's a prayer. it's patriotic. Like the community comes together to put it together. Mike Short, I think, has been involved in that and in the tree lighting ceremony for a long time. So you have, I would say, legends within Orange engaged in this.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, and just a
whole
fun
city.
family atmosphere where people can come together and celebrate a national holiday. So I love July 3rd event, right? But I also want to just point out that all of these events, these are unique. You pray before these events, you salute the flag before these events, you do it before a city council meeting, and that needs to stay in the city. And I think it's a big part of why Orange is fantastic, in my opinion.
Awesome. That's one of our favorites too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we head into some announcements, I have like quite the list today. Any final words for our business community?
I support the business community. I think the business community makes us is the backbone ultimately of the health of any city over time. I'm business minded. I understand what business leaders have to deal with in the day to day. And some of you are financially great. Some of you are on the fringe. So wherever there's a major shift in fee structure or anything that's causing you to have an increase, I'm going to really look at that. I'm going to really question that, and I'm going to make sure that we're thinking through those types of things. Part of my job is to find that line of regulation to make sure that we maintain quality and standard of life. But I also want to make sure we're out of the way appropriately so that we're not unnecessarily holding up things that are going to allow good businesses to get going. So I'm always interested in hearing any feedback on where that could happen. So
Right.
Please keep giving it to me. But come to Orange, stay in Orange, and everyone in the business community, Mr. Aaron back there,
Economic
is
development.
ready to help you thrive in Orange and come to Orange. So,
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, I want to make sure everybody can reach you. So I know on our city's website, you can reach out to everyone, like in any of your districts that are here. So feel free to reach out to John. I know you guys celebrate businesses, and so make sure that you're bringing that information to him, not just the bad things, but bring some of the good things too, so he can celebrate you at a meeting. Thank you for joining us.
yes, good to be here.
Before I let you go, though, do you mind if I do some announcements?
Sure.
Okay. So let's see. Of course, my phone or my iPad has timed out. All right. So we have a couple big events coming up. First, we have our City Council Appreciation Breakfast. That's on March 14th at the Hotel Farah. So I know we've had it previously up on the hill, and so this year we're going to be down in the town. Hotel Farah, we are excited to be there. There is still an opportunity for both sponsorships and tickets. So please see Elizabeth or Connie or check out our website. Next, one of our favorites as well, the May Parade. That is going to be presented by the RJ Noble Company. And we have announced the theme, I think just yesterday, right? Was that for this week? Come to the orange side. It is on May 4th, so you guys all know what to do with that theme. Dress appropriately, have some fun. There is definitely still sponsorship spots available for that. Also the chance to be in the parade. So go ahead and submit your applications as soon as you can so we can go ahead and get those approved for you. So other things that we have going on this week, we have quite a few things. I think something almost every day of this week. So we have our business networking group that's on the first and third Wednesdays at Zito's Pizza. So that's tomorrow. So join us there for lunch at noon networking. That's a great way to meet businesses in and around the community. This meeting is usually kind of quick and you get to say hello to everybody, but that's really, you get to say hello to every business, find out what everybody's doing, really do your ask there. So that's a great way to just kind of be among the people. Mixer, we have Thursday at Casalulo. That is going to be the 22nd. It's also ribbon cutting, so join us there. They have amazing items, so please go there. Ribbon cuttings, we have the Hilbert Museum of California Art. That's on this coming Friday, the 23rd. Also coming up between now and the next Eggs and Issues, we have the closing celebration for Resilience in Art, Black Artists Unveiled. So that's going to be on Thursday, February 29th. Between now and then, that exhibit is still open. So definitely go see that exhibit. It'll be open through the 29th, but the 29th will be hosting the official ceremony. Going back one, on Saturday, the 23rd, is our Orange Plaza Art Walk. Are we still accepting artists for that? We still, okay. So we are still accepting artists for the art walk. That was so much fun. Who attended the art walk last year? So fun. You guys are, it's just so fun. You get to walk around town. I just like walked around with an iced coffee and my dog, and it was just, my dog and I had the best time ever. So you'll want to come to that. Next month we will be here, and that'll be on the 4th Wednesday, back at its normal date and time. That's the 26th. We'll be welcoming Orange County Sheriff Don Barnes, and he has been with us. See, we interviewed him during the pandemic over Zoom. So this will be his first time with us live. So we're looking forward to having him in person. So join us here. You can go ahead and register for that as soon as possible. Make sure you're following the Chamber on social media. That's where you can find all of our events. I would love to thank our board of directors, our staff, our chairman circle sponsors. We can't do it without any of you. Our business community. John, again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Sean and Nina, Orange County, thank you. Great breakfast. We will see you guys later. So I know we promised John we get him out by 9, and he has about 5 minutes to chat with you all before he has to head out, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.